Yeah. So, boy, it's your boy, Bitz and Bobz. What we say, people, I got a special guest with me today. One of the guys from Eyes on the Ball TV. Daniel, how you doing, my brother? You all right?
I'm doing good, my bro. I'm doing good.
Bro, thank you so much for coming on, man. I know
No
you're a busy
worries.
guy. Congrats on the Masters, bro.
Appreciate
Listen, on the way is up for you, bro. Real talk, on the way is up.
it.
Um,
Literally.
Bro, so you know what we're here today, bro? You know, from a black man to another black man. I think this is brilliant because, stuff that we're going to touch on today, it's going to be about what's probably not spoken as much within our community, you
Mm,
know? And the first subject I'm going to ask you your opinion on is a black man's mental health.
yeah.
Now, let me break down my question to you. Why do you think we or our community never speaks about mental health?
I mean, it's gonna be tough to like speak about something like this in the short time we obviously have because
Yeah.
like
Understand, yeah.
there's so many layers to it. But if I was to try and make it as concise as possible, I think the problem stems from where we've grown up or who we've grown up with. Like, much love to our parents. Obviously, different people have gone through different experiences with their parents based
Yeah.
on where they're from, African, Caribbean, whatever country. Like, we're all
Mhm.
black. We're all black at the end of the day, and people have had different experiences. However, the common trend or the common theme is that we're expected to rise to a different level. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yep.
We're not expected to be treated as the same as everyone else, like
Hmm.
our white counterparts and whatnot. So the reason why it's unspoken of is because it's not something that has been broken down to us as something that we should talk about. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
if
yeah,
you're going through something in your mind, if something's happening in your head and it's really, really tough and it's weighing down on you, you can't speak about that. You're not allowed to speak about that because you're black. You're expected to be able to rise above. Do you get what I'm saying? And
facts,
that that
facts.
that that and that it's that expectation that has almost affected the black generation. So
Hmm.
whether it be African, whether it be Caribbean, it's that expectation. The fact that we can't be seen as normal. Do you get what I'm saying? It's very,
Yep.
very normal to be someone who struggles mentally with a lot of things. There's a lot of pressures in society in this world, and we should be able to communicate that. We should be able to speak to our fellow person about that. But as soon as you speak about something that's weighing down on you or putting a lot of pressure on you,
Hmm.
you're seen as lesser. You're seen as someone who hasn't met that expectation. So I have to
Yep.
look down on you. Do you get what I'm saying? And
Yep.
that's
Yep.
where the problem lies. Like, knowing that that expectation is in your mind and thinking in your head that you have not met up to the expectation that everyone has set for you already
Hmm.
affects you even more. Do you get what I'm saying? So now
Yeah.
that's why people, I think, or us as the black generation, we fail to really see it and talk about it. So yeah.
Hmm. No, no. Thank you for that, man. Because I agree with you. 100% every word you said. Um, and what I want to add to that is that you know we are always told we need to work harder,
Yeah.
and do you know the interesting thing is that we were saying off air like the new norm and stuff like that. But currently, that is our normality, isn't it?
Hmm.
Mentally, we have to prepare ourselves to expect the worst. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Um, I remember I went to secondary school in Scotland, in Edinburgh, and I was told, you know, listen to your teacher, the usual, and just be aware that there are some people who are going to call you names. There's some people who are not going to be nice to you because of the color of your skin. Now, as an 11, 12-year-old, mentally, like, what's going on? Like, what are you telling me? Like, people aren't going to like
Yeah.
me because I'm Bobby? Do you know what I mean? Or people are not going to like me because of my skin? What? And then, you're already on a defense
Yeah.
mentally, never mind physically, because you're already thinking, I'm skeptical of you. I'm skeptical of
Mm.
you. I'm skeptical of you. And then you don't realize what's happening with you because you don't know it's mental health. You just think something's getting you down. And do we want to talk about it? No, because we haven't been taught to. we haven't been given the support to. And I'm not saying that all the black parents in our community have failed. No, 100% no, because they're only bringing us up in what they've known, how and what they know, and they also want to protect us, and from a young age you have to get street smart, and I just think, I mean, we could be here for hours on mental health, but it was just nice to hear your opinion on that. Here's another direct question. Being in uni, sorry, just graduate, so congratulations. Mentally, how was that for you?
Oh, like, and this is one thing that isn't spoken about enough of. Like, I mean, uni for me was very, very calm. But then when I got to my, so let's leave it. Let's put my master's and universities as two separate entities, in it. So when I did my first degree, got to my final year, that was tough. As in, it was really, really tough. It was rigorous. Didn't understand the pressures, like the expectation. The jump from second year to third year is much bigger than what people think, and that's because of the expectation that they expect from you. Obviously, like your dissertation, your extra hours, whether you had to do a business plan and whatnot, depending on your subject and stuff like that. So for me, it was like, yeah, this is tough. Like, this is really, really tough. And again, linking it to the mental health thing, like, it's like, who did you really have to speak to? Do you get what I'm saying? There wasn't someone to really reach out to you. So that was the real problem. And it's something that I won't be the only, I'm someone who thrives under pressure. And I'm saying I found it tough. So imagine the thousands of people who go through uni and they're struggling. They're literally struggling. Do you get what I'm saying? And they have no one to talk to and no one to communicate that to you. So yeah, that's definitely something that needs to be spoken of or addressed. The fact that university is much tougher than we think. I don't know if you saw recently in Manchester, during the lockdown period, someone committed suicide.
No.
Yeah, exactly. Someone committed suicide in one of the university accommodations. And I mean, I don't want to speculate as to what the reason was, but one can only think or connect it to the fact that lockdown, which was already mentally tough, added to the fact that they had to go through university, almost adds an insurmountable weight on someone. Do you get what I'm saying? So yeah man, yeah.
It's tough though, isn't it? When you think about it, and do you know what it is? It's a support system, a support network, and that's why in Scotland I'm the leader of the BAME network, and Black and Asians, minority ethnics. I hate those words, but that's just the political term. Okay, it is what it is. But that community, I'm the leader of in the workplace, and that's what I want to provide. I want to provide a support system, as well as where people can be accepted, where they can feel free to speak. There's no one's judging, because if you feel weak, it's okay not to be okay, as they say. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And it's also good to engage and feel inclusive. I always say this to people. When people have a drinking problem or become an alcoholic, there's places for them to go, right? AA meetings, right, where they talk and they're helped through it. So why not create something where mentally, as a Black person or an Asian person or even a white person, because it doesn't just stop in our communities, where they can have a network where they can engage, feel free, and have some sort of relief where they can speak their mind, and that's what I'm trying to use my initiative with. And so far, so good. Everyone's trying to get involved from all communities, and I'm very passionate about this. Because what we're learning in the world today is that it can be a very, very lonely place if you don't speak out. Thank you for that, man. Thank you for that. I'm going to segue to some, but I'm not going to ask if you've suffered any racism yourself, because. Well, in fact, actually, no, yeah. Okay, yeah, let's ask you that, actually. Growing up, in your studies, your workplace, and so on, have you ever been a victim of it?
I think for me, it's more been because I say fortunate because I like the environment that I grew up in. I grew up in an environment where school as well, everyone was black. Do you get what I'm saying? I went to a
Yeah,
black
yeah.
school, a black dominated school, a black dominated sixth form. I grew around my neighbors. A lot of them were black. Do you get what I'm saying? So I've had a very black upbringing.
Okay.
And then again, even then, you still experience subtle forms of racism. I think I've experienced the more covert racism
Got you.
as
Got
opposed
you.
to the one that's in your face, shall we say?
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, it comes in school, like teachers doing things that they don't recognize are racist. I think for me personally, growing up and almost being a reflection, I've learned a lot more things have more racist connotations than I would have thought at the time. I think I was when I was young, or when I was younger, I had a very ignorant take on racism, and I think I'm glad. And that's one thing Black people need to do a lot more of. Like, they should be willing to be educated about these things, because they need to understand at the end of the day, this is something that happens to not just us, but to other people. And it won't just, even if you haven't been affected by it, there's a very, very high chance of your kids being affected by it. It's
100%.
something
Yeah.
that you need to understand and whatnot. So, yeah, for me personally, I think it was more of the hidden racism, where maybe subtle things, sly comments might have been said in passing, and maybe you wouldn't even have realized that it had been racist.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say, as I am now, definitely you've experienced, like, it's in our faces. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been to football games where people have been racist, like, and it's like your instant reaction or your response to it is always like, how do I react to this now? Like, what do I do? Like, kind of thing. You actually don't know what to do
To do it, yeah.
yeah, and that's what happens, isn't it? So, yeah, I think the danger is, and I'm glad a lot of things have happened during this lockdown, which have allowed us to air our voices a bit more. But the danger is almost accepting it and almost being like, this is okay. It happens all the time, so just ignore it. Like, that's totally the wrong way of going about it. So, yeah, man.
No, I mean, do you know when you say when it's, you shrugged your shoulders there, right? And automatically I'm like, I'm there with you, because it's like, really, like,
For real, yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, and I think that's what most blacks, Asians, that face, and especially us blacks, because we are passionate about football. It's what we've done with our relatives, our neighbours. One person had the ball, jumpers for goalposts. That's how you bring a community together. Do you know what I'm trying to say to you?
100%.
And when you like you said, I mean, you had a very black upbringing. You're dominating around black people, so that was the norm for you. It's interesting, isn't it, when we go to a place or a scenario or a location where we're just going to watch football. However, there's people at this place watching the location or whatever that will look at you and feel they have the right to be racist towards you. And that's what rings in my head, and that raises alarm bells, is that people feel like they have the right to say anything towards us.
But that's because they've been empowered and given that right. Do you get what I'm saying?
Exactly. So we already know we've wasted enough energy on people like that growing up. So it's like, do you know what? Let me just enjoy my day. You're not going to bother me. But see, I used to have the same attitude, and then now I think as I've matured a little bit more, I've been like, actually, do you know what? No, because there's going to be younger people than me that's going to come up, that's going to be wanting to play football, go to football matches. And they shouldn't just ignore that, because that isn't normal. That's hate. That's inheritance of racism, casual racism, and so on. So that's why I'm doing stuff like this, where I'm talking to you to try and raise awareness and try and educate. Because I tweeted this the other day and said that when anyone wants to learn something, we seek to be educated on that subject. So, but when there's a problem with society, the powers that be have the duty to educate, So for me, it's about talking to other communities, for example, the white communities, or whichever communities that feel that use those languages and feel it's okay to be those users that feel okay to use those languages because they need to be educated as well. You know, you might not realize, some people don't, the casual racism don't realize what they're saying. And then that, if you can change minds, you change attitudes, you know, then it can be called out even more, you know. I said a story on Usman Talks United, and I was talking about being at a football match where it was Rangers against Hibs, and I was in the Hibs stand, Hibernian stand, and they had a black player playing in the middle of the park, and I already knew. I was like, I already knew. I was like, okay, wait till he loses possession or mistimes a tackle. On cue, the racist slurs came, and my friend was white, and he was ready to fight the guy.
Yeah.
No, we can't. I was like, it's cool. And I thanked him. I was like, look, bro, thank you very much. You know, he's like, no, don't thank me. That's horrible. And we need more people like that because that's when we start to embarrass people, start to call it racist.
Yeah.
You said something about the language. Okay. I'm going to move on to the media now. Lockdown has put everyone's eyes on social media, internet. Everyone's doing dialogue over Zoom, stream, stuff like this and so on. And because the usual of going out and stuff and socializing it's been brought to a halt or diluted, the media, as in the newspapers, the headlines and stuff, are now becoming more, what's the word? More on notice to everyone's eyes, you know?
Okay,
and,
yeah.
Yeah, so like, you know, me and you can see something, we'll be like, yeah, whatever. However, other communities are now recognizing, no, that there's a thing here, right?
Yeah.
So on the language, what's your thoughts on we could talk about Rashford's headlines, Sterling's headlines. I mean, there's many more players before we were even alive, but we can only talk about what we see now. I mean, what's your thoughts on the language they use in the media?
I mean, I've been public about condemning media language and media phrasing. I always call it dirty journalism. Like, it's not pure. It's got a lot of impurities with it because there's the sense of, I need clickbait. I need something that's going to get people talking. I need something that will almost cause a stir and drive traffic towards the newspaper or the media platform. And that's why I've spoken to a lot of people about this. The key is not giving them the attention that they so desperately crave for. Do you get what I'm saying? The onus is on us. Yes, 100% we can call them out every time they do it, but the onus is on us. The onus is on us to also not give them that attention by giving them clicks or however they get their money through they're selling and whatnot. And they'll get, this is what I'm saying, it's like what we were talking about off camera. It's like when we get to a stage where we actually don't need these media platforms, they are going to need us. They're going to need to conform to what we believe is right. And what we just want, and the funny thing is, we just want a fair space. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, that's all we're asking for. What we're only asking for a fair space to be able to thrive, to be able to create content, to be able to be criticized when needed to be criticized, and to be praised when we need to be praised. No hidden agendas, no ulterior motives, and that is the problem. Like, it's we're creating a nasty chain where if we don't try and break that, it's going to carry on. That cycle will carry on, and that's why I'm glad that a lot of platforms are doing their own thing, creating their own news and creating their own buzz, and that's all I could ask for. Do you get what I'm saying? Because time and time again, we've just had enough. Basically, now we've tried to amend how these big guys at the top do their thing, but they're not trying to conform. So now it's time for us to go in our own lane and do it ourselves.
And on the back of that, you know, I don't know if you watch Stoppage Time TV. Shout out to the guys, Fuad, Cams, and Mayo. Do you know what I really loved about that? We had a black footballer, ex-footballer, talking to a podcast about football and about just life in general. And let's take away from being a black footballer, He's an ex-footballer, and do you know what?
Yeah,
It was so refreshing just to see that, because you could see Carlton Cole was relaxed. Even the language he used,
yeah,
he's talking with the man them and that, and how open and honest he was, because I believe he knew he was comfortable. His words weren't going to get twisted and stolen. And do you know
yeah,
what? Stoppage Time TV, big shout out to them, because I think for the platform, for the culture, that was major. Like, I
yeah,
don't think people will realize now what they've done, but
yeah,
I think, they've been mentioned in newspapers in Spain as well. That, and for me, I hope that opens so many athletes, not just footballers, athletes' eyes. And Coach Cam said it. He said, he tweeted it. He said, "Come to us," because he said something. He said, "We are the people that support you."
yeah,
And let's be honest, we're the people that support you, help pay your wages.
yeah,
Yet the club that you play for, or the clubs that you play for, are the ones who allow these newspapers to come in to ridicule you. And for
yeah,
me, I just want to know, what was your thoughts on that moment? Because for me personally, from being on the internet and YouTube, I thought that was massive. Like, I can't laud them even more, because to see a player kick it with them, talk so casual, so open,
yeah,
and be smiling, bro. It wasn't the robotic answers.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It wasn't, "Oh, how did you feel you played today?" "Oh, well, it was all about the team getting the 3 points, blah, blah." Man was
Okay.
speaking. So, yeah,
Yeah.
man, like, what did you think of that?
No, 100%, and I couldn't agree with you more in terms of what they did. 100%, you got to give them so much praise. Fortunate to know the guys, so like I know what they're grinding. They're all doing their own thing, and what they're
Mm-hmm.
doing is very very good for us because they're creating the space for us to almost attract footballers to come to Black Owner Podcast, talk, and feel free. Like they feel free, so free to just speak their mind, to give us the stories that we want to hear. And it's nice to be able to engage with a footballer and just speak, for someone to be able to speak their mind. You get what I'm saying? Um, in terms of what Cams has said and how it links, I think it's important. At the end of
Mm-hmm.
the day, we are the ones who support them. Yes, as fans, we will bang out and get angry and say, "Oh, this player is dead. This player is not good." But at the end of the day, when we're able to reflect on things, the black players are the ones we tend to like have affectionate spots for at times. Like
Of
think of the,
course.
the Drogbas, the Yaya Toures, the Pogbas, the Jermaine Defoes. Like these are players that we see and we fully rate. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it's important. It's important. There's two sides to it. I've had conversations with people about the Carlton Cole thing going on stoppage time, and
Mm-hmm.
there's two sides to it. On the flip side, which is the negative side, is that um, after that show he did, some footballers could have messaged Carlton like, "Why would you go on there? Like, why are you talking?" Like,
Mm.
and it could scare other people from going on because they know there could be backlash. But at the end of the day, it only takes one. It only takes a couple more to do it, and people will then recognize that this is the place to go. This is the way forward, and this is what I'm saying by. You see the way they did the interview, and they were able to get writers to talk about it and to get it, they got into mainstream media.
Yeah.
The more we are able to get footballers to come on our shows and to speak to us and to be free and talk about their mind, just what's going on, the
Mm-hmm.
more this is where their story will come from our
Yeah.
shows. So they're going to need us. Like if I backtrack in summer, a lot of my friends got onto Sky Sports and they were able to talk on Sky Sports and do like the transfer talk segment and do maybe Bleacher Report here and there, maybe do other
Mm-hmm.
major platforms. And my thing is, they're doing that because of what was going on. Like they were trying to increase diversity, have black
Yes.
faces on the screen. And what's key is that they did that in response to what was happening at the time. So what's to say that in a couple of years, the times are that being or having the mindset of being diverse is the way forward. You have to be diverse. You can't be a white dominated sector or company, or else
Mm-hmm.
no one will rate you. Do you get what I'm saying? And
100%. Yeah.
it's not gonna be a little segment we'll be doing. We'll be doing full shows. And that's the point. Like we're doing it so that we can control our own destiny. We can control who comes on, what they say, how they say it. why they're saying it and whatnot. Like, there's no filtering process. There's no, oh, you're not good enough, we don't want you on our screens kind of thing. And that's what we've kind of been subjected to, that we're not good enough. And look, the more black platforms that are created, the more the possibility of us dominating our space. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%.
And sooner or later, it's not even just about black. Once we get more black players or black professionals, athletes onto our podcast, white people are going to be looking at it and like, I want to speak to them instead of speaking to the media. Like, I feel more comfortable speaking to them. Do you get what I'm saying? And that's what it's down. Like, that's what we're trying to do, and that's the only way we can do it.
No, thoroughly. And the last bit there when you said that white people are gonna see it and be like, yeah, let's do it to them. That's massive, because then they're noticing the shift change. And when I say the shift change, I'm seeing the momentum, the actually, do you know what? I'll probably feel more comfortable speaking on that. I'll say to one of their colleagues or their peers, yeah, I saw what you said on that show, man. Who are they? How did you get in touch with them?
Exactly.
Then the networking, it broadens, and it's like, yeah, these people are doing it. And then these Talk Sports, Sky Sports, BT, have got no choice. and that's it. And that's the thing. And it's not like we're trying to fight them or battle them, because I think at the end of the day, we are up and coming. We are creative.
Yeah.
We are relevant. The only reason why we're relevant is because we watch these players.
Yeah.
We watch them. We watch their social media accounts. We watch their movement. And also it's something we're very, very passionate about: football and sport. So, and I mean, look, this country. I say this country, the UK. As much as people don't like it, it is diverse. Some people will tell you, "Well, it's an all-white." No, it's not, mate. Do you know what I'm trying to say to you? And when you look on your TV, it should represent society. It should be diverse. And look, sorry, before you go in, let's look at the Premier League, Let's look at the black players that play in the Premier League. Do you know? And we don't even have to name them, but you go from the 20 clubs, Right now, me and you could probably name off 5-10 black players each, right? Yeah. Now, imagine if 2 or 3 of them were just like, actually, I'm going to speak to them instead of the papers. We saw what happened with Tyrone Mings when he spoke to a reporter. We see every bloody time Pogba talks to someone international break.
And it gets twisted.
Yeah. So what I'm saying to them, and I'll put this out there: stop going to these people. Just stop speaking to them, because they don't have any interest in you as a player, as a person. Because I can imagine Stoppers Time TV must have been like, wow, man, like a whole Carlton Cole, and even when he was talking about his football, his partying, and just like him realizing, like, Jose Mourinho was like atting him, like, fix up. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's deep, bro. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's
stuff we want to hear.
That's what we want. Yeah, exactly. That's what I don't want to hear reading up the paper like Carlton Cole says it's going to be a tough away game. The boys are going to have to be ready. Shut up, man. I don't want to hear that. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's just some textbook quote that every player or any robot says. Do you know?
Yeah.
What were you going to say? Sorry, you were just going to jump.
No, I was going to just. I mean, it's a different. Like, it's not the same example in terms of being black and whatnot, but it's the same kind of context and same kind of area. It's a bit like now I've grown up, or we've all grown up on Sky Sports and Deadline Day. Like Deadline Day, when it's Deadline Day, everyone's switching on their TVs. 24. That's what you're watching for the full 24 hours, seeing what teams get what players and stuff like that. But really and truly, this year was the first year I didn't really watch it because of Fabrizio Romano.
Same. Oh my goodness, yeah.
You're following his Twitter instead of watching Deadline Day. And that's the point I'm making. Like, because Romano has been able to create his space now, we were following Twitter personalities. So from Romano, there's a guy called Jan, and then there's other guys, other journalists, Twitter journalists or whatnot, who are able to do their own thing. And that's what we were following, because they were getting up to date and filling us in with basically what was going on. as opposed to going to Sky Sports. And that's my point, where we're slowly getting into an age, or we're already there. We're in an age where if these big media agencies aren't careful, they're going to be left behind. Like, we're done with that
100%.
now. Do you get what I'm saying? The content creation is where it's at. And that's where money needs to be invested. And that's where we need to carry on doing what we're doing, because we're going in the right way.
And a good advert is Chunks, you know.
Yeah.
He hosts a Saturday show with Sky Sports.
Yeah.
You know? Now, I had to step back and take all my emotions away from it and be like, are they hiring him because he's talented, which I know he is, 100%, or they hired him to stay relevant? And I hope it's because he's talented, he's a hard worker, and he's earned it, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm sure that is, but one can't help not think, you know? And that's just because of the way the system is, the way things are. So we've touched on mental health, we've touched on racism, football, and the media. Okay, now let's put some positive spin on it. Okay, Eyes on the Ball TV.
Yeah.
Okay, so talk to me. How did that? How was that founded? And you know, is there a story behind it, or was it just, you know, you and your guys came together like the Avengers and got named the Avengers?
No, what's crazy is there is a story to it. So what happened was I was in uni, so this is about, let's say now 2 years ago, 2-3 years ago. I was in uni, and my friend Darren, he came to me and he was like, I want to do this podcast. No, let me even backtrack. The story is, we were getting a haircut. So I called him. I came down from uni. I needed to get a haircut quickly. I called him because I wanted to try a new barber. And I was like, can I use your barber? Because I like his haircut. So I was like, yeah. Since
we're going pause that, guys. A barber for a black man is a very important thing. So I fully understand the gist of that phone call and the meaning.
100%. It was a big thing. Like, you need a reference. Do you get what I'm saying? Before you try someone out. So I went to the barber now. And I told him, can you stay? Because obviously, new barber, I don't want, you know, sometimes barbers, they have their moments. Like, they have their favorites and stuff like that. So I just
especially if it's an uncle.
Exactly. So, yeah, and then we sat down, we were just talking football in general, talking basketball in general. And then he just whacked out his phone, showed me a flyer or a poster he had made saying, I have this vision of Eyes on the Ball, and I want it to be a podcast and stuff like that. And we were just talking. We just got to talking. I was giving him an idea, saying, you can do this, you can do that. Like, because I never had any thoughts towards doing something like this.
Yeah.
And he was like, after we finished the conversation, he was like, fam, why don't you just do it with me? Like, fam, it makes sense. We're bouncing back off of each other. Like, let's just do it together. And I was thinking, like, why not? Like, this will seem cool. Like, it seem vibes. I said, once I'm back in summer, we should just get it cracking. And yeah, and then that's what happened. We started out as a podcast. Now what we do is we try to extend it to media coverage and reposting content that people might not see on a daily, but they'll see it from our platforms. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then doing the podcast as well, weekly. And yeah, it's just growing from there. We decided to add a third guy, one of our guys, just to give it, you know, free is always just more rounded.
Flexible. Yeah, more rounded.
Yeah.
That look, innit? Yeah.
Exactly. And then and then since then, it's just been going from strength to strength, man, and it's been really good. No.
I mean, look, I'm a fan, you know, and I'm not just saying this because you're here, because I remember
I appreciate it.
My debut on Usman's Talks United was against you. Was with you, Mayo, and I believe Prime and Beats were there as well. It was the Man U Chelsea game, and
the Man U Chelsea, yeah.
That was my very first time, and you know, I recognized Mayo because I was just like, he's a Stop His Time TV guy. So I didn't want to be like, I know. So I tried to keep it cool. I was just like, yeah. And in my head, I'm like running. I was like to my wife, like, you know the people I watch? I'm like, that's the guy. And then when I checked your stuff out and I subscribed straight away, and do you know what makes me happy is that I'm seeing representation when I see this, you know. It was an all black. I don't think they meant it, but it was an all black cast on that day. And added fact we're all Nigerian, which is even better. Don't get me wrong, but like it was just a nice reflection of, yeah, we're here, we're represented. And when I watch Eyes on the Ball TV, I'm like, I'd rather watch it from you to get the content because I can relate to you guys. Do you know what I'm trying to say? It's like I say this to everyone. It's like when you go to buy a car, okay. And I say this to my friends, my white friends as well. I say to them, do you go to the black person, the Asian person, or the white person? And they'll say to me, oh, I've never really thought about it like that. And I said to them, oh, when I see the black person, I automatically magnetize myself. I'm like a magnet because I see this guy. I'm like, cool, let me help him. What can I do to help him? Because we're in the struggle together.
Yeah.
And yeah, Johnny, I'm just smiling, bro, and it's a compliment to you because now I have another podcast to watch, and it's good because now it's like when I hear some of you guys talk, I don't judge you because you're a Chelsea fan, which is cool. It's nice to be different. It's just nice to reflect and be like, yeah, I'm represented in this, and it's nice that I can relate and like. Yes, it's football and sport and stuff. And, some of the language that's used, I can relate to. So it's like, yeah. And sometimes when I listen to you guys, I'm like, when I'm running, I'm like, yeah. I'm like talking. I'm like, yeah, I agree with him. Or I'll be like, no. I don't get it. So I'll stop. Like, no. Do you know what I'm trying to say to you? But no. Like, and that's testament to you guys. And look, seriously, man. By God's grace in Jesus' name, that you guys are gonna elevate even more higher. And like it's funny because I feel what you're doing, right, as well as Stoppers Time TV, the other platforms, your guys are creating a path, right? And this is what I say to people. What I say to people is that, like, and this might sound wild, but I don't care because I really believe in this. Martin Luther King, Harriet Tubman, okay, all these legends, okay, black figureheads, were not trying to make a name for themselves. They weren't trying to get likes or anything like that.
Yeah.
They were just doing something that they knew and believed them was right. So they created a path for us. We'll be in America, so what? I don't care what anyone says. What happens in America has something to do with UK as well, okay?
Yeah.
Now, I look at us being able to have the freedom and the right to talk football on the internet. Then I see you guys putting up weekly content. So I'm like, oh, I can do that. I see people that look like me that do that. Actually, do you know what? That gives me confidence. Do you know what I'm trying to say to you? So like, you guys are setting a path for people like myself who want to get into YouTube, who want to talk about football. It's like, like if you're confident and you're knowledgeable, even if you're knowledgeable, as long as you have a personality and you want to engage and you can communicate to anyone on any level, go ahead. And I thank you for that, seriously, because
I appreciate
you
that,
helped
bro.
me in that. And this is what I'm saying to you. So for people that do watch this back, go check them out. Eyes on the Ball TV, 100%. Like some good, hardworking guys, and I'm just trying to elevate. My final question to you.
Yeah.
When did it feel real with Eyes on the Ball TV?
That's a good question. Let me think. When did it feel real? What I'd say is it felt real once we started getting traction. So once people started watching us, that's when I was like, all right, cool. Okay, we have something here, innit? Like, we're obviously interesting if people are watching this. And what's funny is we didn't even start on YouTube. We started as just on literally audio, just dropping audio.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was only audio. Like, it was only audio stuff we were dropping. So, like, and for us to be getting like 100 listens, 85 listens on our episodes, we were thinking, wait, 100 people are sitting down listening to us for an hour.
Yeah.
Like, all right, cool, we could have something here in it. And that's what me and my boy were obviously thinking, like, we can make this bigger and better. Like, it's the progression. It's just about progression, consistency, carrying on what you're doing. Do you get what I'm saying? And like, that's when I would say it felt real. Once we realized that we're getting so many listens from an audio platform, an audio podcast, then yeah, man, let's take it seriously.
No, that's amazing, man. That's amazing. It makes me smile, bro. Seriously. And you know, from a young black male to another black male, it's good to see elevation, bro. Like I
Yeah.
can't emphasize that. You know, we have a saying. You know, Nigerians, we have a saying: we never carry last. You know,
For real, bro. For
carry
real.
last. And yeah, and it's do you know what? It's I thank you for the opportunity to do this today. Seriously, man, it's
Nah, I
massive for
appreciate
me
it, bro. Pleasure, man.
because seeing you guys and then like hearing your football knowledge, I'm like, yeah, this is a guy I can kick with. And also, I'm so biased because when I hear someone say they're Nigerian, I'm like, my guy, chop, chop,
Yeah,
chop,
yeah,
chop, chop.
yeah.
But no, listen, that's a wrap for today, man. Seriously, thank you so much. I've enjoyed listening to you. I don't want to take up any more time of your evening, but no, seriously, massive congratulations with the Masters. Seriously,
Appreciate
that's
it, bro.
massive. That's massive.
Much
And
love.
please plug your socials so when people watch this back, they know where to find you, man.
Yeah, man. Well, as on screen, if you want to follow me personally, Daniel Bamaji. But then in terms of As on the Ball, it's literally As on the Ball TV, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all platforms. That's where you can find us.
Brilliant, brilliant. Listen, guys, it's your boy, Bitz and Bobz. Yeah, so what? Make sure you do the numbers on this guy's show. Make sure you go and support the man then. Please like and subscribe. I don't normally say that for my videos. I should probably start saying that a bit more.
You should.
But yeah. Please like and subscribe, guys. And yeah, take care, be safe, and yeah, always keep smiling, guys.